You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. It's August. Yes, it is August. It's a new month. And time is going fast and slow at the same damn time. I just, one moment it feels like things are like, moving at a glacial pace. And then the next moment it seems like everything is going rapidly fast, And this summer seems like it's going fast, but we still have, a month left? For me, the end of summer is after Labor Day. That's mentally where I'm at. Like when September comes, you know what I'm saying? It's like Labor Day's Made in America weekend, Beyonce's birthday weekend. Really, I feel like after the end of September 4th or 5th, when we come back after that weekend, it's fall. You can't wear white anymore, according to some people. I mean, personally, I just don't understand. Why would anyone want to wear white after, summer anyway? I feel like summer is the time to wear white. Like all the all-white parties, all the beach parties, all the brightness. I just feel like that is the time to wear it. Spring, spring weddings, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. To me, I just feel like it makes sense. I mean, not that I'm always, paying attention to fashion rules, but I don't know. I just feel like white in the fall, like, why? Maybe white in the winter, like if it's snow, it's like a real snow and you've got that whole, I'm thinking White Diamonds, Elizabeth Taylor energy, where you're in like all white Gucci outside of some snow and some white fur. I don't know, maybe that's appropriate, but just white in general, like after Labor Day, it's a spring summer vibe, personally. But listen, we're breaking all the rules. So I'm excited. I mean, this past week was really great. Of course, my favorite, my bestie, Jamarcus Henderson, of course, did his showcase. He performed at Level Up this past week. The Lip Brothers were there. Before we went, we had a detour, a pre-reception gathering at Sampan. They had this tasting menu. It was cute. We don't really do happy, everyone keeps talking about how Sampan has the best happy hour or whatever. And I don't go that often because I used to always be turned off by how crowded and packed it was and how overrated it was in that element. But what I like about Sampan, I think people sleep on, is that it's not about the happy hour. The happy hour with the one drink special, that noisy bar during COVID. I'm not crazy about all of that. And never was. I always ran from the place that everyone went to for happy hour. I was never an Elvez girl. Neighborhood, all those bars and the Midtown Village, which is basically the straight neighborhood, quote unquote. I never was crazy about any of those bars, happy hours, because anytime there's a bunch of people, I just feel like the drink quality is very different, and also it's just like, too many people. I like my happy hours to be very chill, very intimate, very basically I want to be able to have a conversation and hear myself. If I can't hear myself in a conversation at a happy hour, and the noise controls that energy, I don't want to go. Because I'm the type of person that I want to sit for the entire happy hour situation. So if it's from 4 to 7, I'm there from 4 to 8, okay? I want to bleed. I want it to be a good happy hour where the food is so good, the food is good too, where it can bleed into dinner. That's how I look at it. I want a good happy hour where I can go for drinks, and the drinks get me there, but the dinner keeps me there. It's a very delicate balance. My really close friends know what I'm talking about. It has to bleed into dinner if we're going to go out, especially if it's a Friday night situation. The whole idea of, we're going to grab drinks for an hour and then we're going to go hop no, it's the environment. I'm not love Taylor Swift, but I'm not trying to catch all that green gas emissions, which let me just start by saying, because one of my friends sent me this and they were trying to be petty. From what she is saying, there was an article that came out that was talking about who has a huge carbon footprint, the celebrities with their air travel and their massive flights. And so, they have private jets, and these jets are not good for the environment. Private jets are just not good for the environment. People, are traveling, all that green gas emissions. It's not good for the ecosystem, especially when we're talking about climate change. I am someone who is in support of that. I know I'm deviating from the conversation about happy hours. I'll get back to it, but I just want to address this real quick because it's not on my agenda. So there's a list of these like top 10 celebrities, like Travis Scott's on there, other folks on there that are using their private jets, how much emissions they use in the average person. Ranking in at number 1 is Taylor Swift's private jet. Now, the narrative was that they were looking at the private jets and how many trips they made or how much they can guesstimate, and then they would estimate how much. So basically, she apparently has the biggest carbon footprint. However, her spokesperson came out and said that it is basically intellectually dishonest to attribute this to her because her private jet gets rented out by multiple people throughout. So it's not just Taylor Swift making all of those trips. And so that is the defense that they've used. Fair. I have a feeling that this is my opinion. This is my, conspiracy theory. I think this is coming from what do y'all call them now? The Kardashian-Jenners. The Jenner Kardashian tribe, because there was critiques about how Kylie and Travis Scott was bragging about how they both had private jets and how they would fly around, and he had his own and she had her own, and people were like, look at you fucking up the environment. So knowing how Kris Jenner is, anytime there's a bad narrative, she plays mud with the press. She's go snooping. Like, no one moves. The devil moves, but Kris Jenner moves faster. And so I think she went to go sniff that up and put that out there to try to take that narrative away. Like, she's just a mama Janet from, like, hell. She is going to do everything in her power to, like, try to, I guess, restore the edges that have been lost on her reckless-ass children. But, so, I mean, it is, listen, these celebrities get these private jets. I know that, like, one of the biggest hypocrites around that was Leonardo DiCaprio, because he's, like, all about inconvenient truth. He was one of the, like, executive producers, talks about the environment all the time. But, bro, you have a whole private jet. Cognitive dissonance. And let's also be clear here, too. I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but these companies, these General Motor companies, all these, like, General Engines and all these folks that are having cars, and also the people who own these private jets and planes, everyone's talking about what individuals can do. Like, recycle, all that crap. Yeah, that's cool. But that's not really at the core of what's really fucking up the environment. It is the massive use of diesel fuel and carbon and all of these massive, huge planes, all these big, huge buildings and the smoke and it's these real big factory industrial setups that are really not good for the environment. It's mass industrialization, the globalization of the world, right? Where America is terribly doing the most damage, right? But you got China and you got these other companies that want to do this. Capitalism is essentially killing the environment. This massive idea of expansion and buildings and this and this and this. Like, that is really what's pushing the global climate change, right? It's not you using a plastic bottle. That doesn't help. But again, it like, we're comparing, toothpicks to machetes. I mean, that's really the best equation. Like, okay, individual working class people not being eco-friendly does not compare to a celebrity who has a sustainable house but has a private jet. Like, when you're looking at per carbon footprint, per, whatever, green gas emission, it's still going to be the celebrity with the eco-sustainability house and the private jet. Okay? Your little, our little homes, apartments, and places, it does not compare to what the big billionaires are doing and these major corporations are doing. So when they try to do this whole, we only use sustainable blah, 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 or we have a meat-free department, like, none of that matters if you're, like, doing what, like, Amazon. Like, Amazon's footprint is ridiculous, but then you'll get these billionaires talking about sustainable living and how they're donating to causes. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. Because their mass industrial complex is what's really making the biggest negative impact on climate change. So, it's good to know Taylor is letting people rent that private jet, but it just, just get first class. Get first class. Do everyone need a private jet? I'm just saying, do every celebrity in a private jet? Some of you all are trying too hard. Why can't y'all be like Bow Wow and pretend you have a private jet, but be flying on, grand luxury coach? I mean, something, people. Like, I don't know. If I was famous, I would still be first class. I would low key want to be with a bunch of people. I just would, I don't know if I want a private jet. Like, would I ride one every blue moon? Probably. But do I need one for everything? No. And then I think about the celebrities who have the individual helicopters. I mean, when you think about the tragedy that happened to Kobe Bryant, this idea of I want to be above, not referring to Bryant, but the celebrities using the private helicopters. A lot of celebrities have died, and athletes have died from individuals with private planes and private helicopters and things. That's why I've always been personally turned off, because a lot of the plane crashes and things that you hear about are oftentimes private cars, private, machinery. It's never commercial as much in the U.S. And so it's just one of those things where you like, even when you think about Leah. Leah had a private, plane. Kobe had a, his own private, helicopter. So it's a lot of that to consider in that process about just, how much of that carbon footprint, but also just about the intimacy and the and separation. Like, I know a lot of celebrities don't want to be around everyday people. I get it. But sometimes, like, do you need to take that private plane that's 1 hour away to another trip? Could you just take a train? Like, I don't know why people go, take a train or maybe have a private car, like a private bus, or something. But I guess there's other ways to do it, personally. Shout out to people that do tour buses and not, private jets for every part of their tour. No shade to anyone, just saying. Just been thinking about it a lot more. The older you get, the more you think about things outside of yourself. So, I do think there could be more to be done on the environment. Now, back to happy hour. So, happy hour. So, like I said, we went to Sampan. What I loved about Sampan was that we did not actually do happy hour. There is a tasting menu there for those who go. It's like a $55, it's like 7 or 6 different small plates or different size plates that you pick amongst the table. Everyone at the table has to commit to it, but honestly, come on, let's be real, right? So everyone commits to it. You pick different items you all like 2 from one section. You get some fish, you get some meat, you get, other little dishes in between. I mean, it was just dope. We had a real widespread. And if you all was looking at the Instagram stories from the Lip Brothers, Josh, George, myself, and of course, Jamarcus could not eat with us and drink with us because he was getting ready for his show, which we'll get to in a second. But we got a taste of everything. It was $55 per person. And I love that because one of the things that annoy me about happy hours is that there's only so many snacks that are quote unquote on the happy hour menu. A lot of times when you're going to these really nice restaurants, those happy hour food deals aren't really that much of a deal. I mean, they're literally treating it like a snack. So you really don't get the full experience. But we just went and had that tasting menu. I like a nice, affordable tasting menu. Let me clarify. I like a good tasting menu. Sometimes it's a little bit over the top. Because I'm about to go to Hell's Kitchen next week. So for Vegas, I'm going, I said next week. It's in, Tuesday night? 2 days. Like tomorrow. Actually tomorrow, hell. If you're listening on August 1st, today's the 1st of August. It's a new month. Technically Tuesday, the 2nd, because I'll be taking my flight over, but we'll get to Vegas in a minute. But anywho, I like a good tasting menu that's no fuss. A $55 tasting menu with about 6 or something small entrees and shareable plates, that's not bad. And, to be able to add a couple of drinks in the mix, which your drinks are decently priced compared to when I went to New York. I was like, I appreciate this $12, $11 cocktail. I tell you, I do miss Philadelphia drink prices. Because New York, I think the average drink we had in New York was like $18. And it wasn't even that, those drinks weren't they were good, but they weren't phenomenal for that much, So I kind of was looking back okay, not bad. So a good happy hour situation with Sampan was around maybe a little under 100, but that was also a dinner vibe. But we got to get our drink on. We had about 3 drinks and change. And then also we did some gratuities. It's a little over $100. Wasn't bad. Nice night out. Especially at a place like Sampan, especially in Center City. Now, mind you, if we was in West Philly, you could probably, that would have probably, like, that experience at a good happy hour in West Philly would have been around $50, $60. But not bad for Center City, especially a place like that. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. Now to his show. His performance was stellar. It was a return to form. Loved the song, okay, Boy from the South, BFTS, which is great. But the venue itself. So Level Up is just Level Up, y'all. And remember I told you I had my reservations about Level Up. Level Up was giving very much Level Up. I don't want to do an extensive read, but it was giving Level Up. Now his performance was great. I think with him, it was giving, he was a diamond in the rough. Like, he's probably laughing listening to this part, but literally, it was just like the other performances, a lot of them were just subpar. It was giving very much like, it was nostalgic in the ways that were not necessarily the best, but it was just giving very much like, did you all practice? Why are you lip syncing? Like, why aren't these mics working? Why are you all not? Why isn't anyone ready? Like, it was giving all of that. But I was a little tipsy, and my boys were too. So we kind of actually enjoyed ourselves a little bit too much because we were drunk. I don't think you could enjoy that experience unless you was tipsy or drunk, most of those performances. But we got ourselves, we were very good with waiting for Jamarcus. But after Jamarcus, it was like another drink, please, another round, please. Because at that point, we were like over it. But it was a cute night out. It was good to see our friend perform live. It was great to see our friend slaughter the rest of the girls. I mean, I wonder if this is how it feels like for Beyonce when she's like American Music Awards and like all these like subpar, like mediocre pop artists are performing, and or when she's at the MTV Awards, because that's where the like MTV Awards, it's always like one great performance at the awards, and then the rest of it's just kind of like meh. And I feel like that's kind of what it was feeling like going to Level Up performance. It was like we came to see Jamarcus, and everything else was just like meh. And it is always like that one performer where you're like, oh, this has got potential. And then it goes like down. That's how I felt. But I enjoyed the audience. I enjoyed those drinks were woo. I had a real good drink there. Actually, I just told the bartender what I want. There was like not a menu. I don't know. I didn't want to try any of the weird drinks they were doing because a lot of their stuff were like those sponsored drinks. I said, listen here, sir. I want to, I feel like I was at one of those Northeast like dive bars where you just kind of tell them to hook it up and make it work. So I was like, look, I want vodka. What did I tell you? I want vodka. I want watermelon pucker. Put some cranberry juice in there. Put a little splash of lime juice. I want a lime. I want a cherry and an orange slice. And then he made that happen. I don't know if it was some drink I made up. It was just, I just was thinking about all the things I wanted. It basically, as George had put it, it tastes like a Jolly Rancher. But we loved it. It was cute. It was a cute drink. We had a good time. It was a different contrast from going from Sampan to Level Up was definitely a contrast. But it was fun. It's nice to go to a nice, hole, a Center City hole in the wall. The best way to describe it. No shade. But nonetheless, it was fun. So outside of that, I've been having a lot of fun. I mean, since the NOC convention, it was a great, stellar, award-winning weekend. It was a great night. Since the the awards, it was fabulous. I've been getting hit up to host a lot of gigs, paid opportunities. We love paid opportunities. I have some stuff coming up that I'm super excited about. I got a speaking engagement in Dallas. Like, we're traveling. This is like my first like paid traveling experience since I've signed with my speaking agent, who's been booking me for opportunities. A lot of my opportunities, speaking of paid engagements, have been virtual because of the pandemic. But now, people are coming back outside. I'm getting flued out to Dallas, and they're paying for the hotel and the travel. Like, I'm really having the experience. I'm really excited. And the coins. We're no longer doing a couple of $100s. We're in the thousands category. It's perfect timing, especially moving into the new place. Getting, trying to get all my furniture. Now I'm looking like, okay, let me revisit some of the stuff I was looking at before. Got to reamp the budget, but I'm excited. It did everything it was supposed to do. I never, I hardly get to host things because too often I'm the person on the panel in the show. But like, this could be a new gig. This could be a new venture, being a host of things. I'm hosting an event, several events coming up. I'm hosting something later on in September. That's a paid engagement. A couple of other stuff. I guess people love me as a host. I host this podcast. I guess that's what it is, right? I guess I've been hosting my entire life and didn't realize it. But it's been exciting. So many referrals and things. So I'm just trying to make it work. I'm trying to get to you all, meet everybody where they're at. Some people were like, "Oh, could you come do this event?" I know it's under your budget, $1,000, but I'm like, listen, if I'm not doing anything that day and I was chilling and I'm just gonna be there for an hour, yeah, I'll do that for like $500. Why not? I wasn't doing anything else, So I have a nice sliding scale. I work with people where they're at, based on flexibility, and just thank you all for just putting that out there and looking out for yours truly and spreading the word. I feel loved. So yeah, look like we're gonna be on the road doing a couple of speaking engagements as they come in. So that's great. Shout out to Collective Speakers, my faves. Also, sidebar, just want to take a moment to just, reflect and remember an incredible legend, Bill Russell, who just passed away. As you all know, he led the Celtics to 11 NBA titles when the Celtics were good. And he was the first black head coach in a major U.S. league. Like, just incredible. Like, I grew up with one of my brothers was a big basketball fan. Well, actually, yeah, my brothers are big basketball fans. My stepdad's a big basketball fan. Like, they're all like into basketball. And he, Bill Russell is a legend. He died at 88 years old. So, thoughts and prayers to his family. But what a legend, what a legend. But yes, what else is going on? I mean, I'm gearing up for Vegas. The doll is gearing up for Vegas. Everything, this whole week I'll be in Vegas, y'all. I will be giving y'all an episode. Yeah, I should be, I'll sleep on the flight back on the Sunday. So I'll be gone, tomorrow or Tuesday. For those who listen to Tuesday, I'll be gone from Tuesday till Sunday. And I'll be back like Sunday evening. So I might record the podcast then or do it later. But you'll get a podcast episode from me recapping that week and everything else, of course. I'm not taking any breaks. We're now in season 3. But I'm excited. I'm excited about this convention. At first, I had mixed thoughts. I feel like this is the longest time I've had to get excited about it compared to previous conventions where, it was just like the Miami one, the New Orleans, of course, the DC my first one was in DC in 2016. Detroit was fun. Then it was Miami. And then it was like 2 virtuals, which was like, yeah, whatever. And then this year it's going to be in Vegas. Finally excited about Vegas. I must say that everybody can't do conventions the same. This convention, this is the NHJ, so this is the National Association of Black Journalists and the National Hispanic, National Association of Hispanic Journalists. I have to get all my abbreviations because there's also AAJA, which is the Asian American Journalism Association, AAJA. All the different abbreviations. So I am excited about this convention. The thing is that I was a little scared over the weekend because you all saw about Vegas, all there was like floods and all this. But I'm from Texas, and like sometimes Texas floods get wild. But if you're in a very hot area, that evaporation game is no joke. Like, of course, my father-in-law lives in Vegas, so we hit him up like, yo, we seeing these video clips and these things of the Caesar's Palace because we're going to be at the Caesar's Palace. Like, is this going to impact us? Child, listen, they say that happens every blue moon. It's that little weather season. But, like, the water will be there, and then the heat will suck it up. And they're like, water where? That's the energy. So I'm like, okay, Vegas, I see y'all. Okay, looks like, things might be a little all right. But, I'm so happy I'm in the host hotel because think about it. Like, it's so hot in Vegas. Like, I can't play with Vegas. Like, Vegas is late night dinners. I'm not playing with the sun. I'm not playing out there with that heat. Like, I'm just not doing it. So I'm happy that I'm in the host hotel. Most of my crew, my PABJ leadership from my board and our friends, Sharon's going to be there. I'm going to be there. The board is going to be there from PABJ. A lot of good folks are going to be in Vegas representing, because we got to represent Philadelphia, because the Philadelphia chapter is the founding chapter, but we also were the first Black journalism, professional journalism association of its kind in the country. Okay, we predate NABJ. And NABJ's relationship with PABJ is always up and down. Like right now, because I'm the president and because the current leadership, they don't care much for the doll. It's not the best. I mean, it's so messy. Like the president is not inviting me. The president of NABJ is not inviting me to the president's reception, which is often invited to all chapter presidents across the country. Well, I was not invited because that's how petty she is. So I may or may not be going. Look, I don't listen. I'm big on the whole "don't play in my face," and people ask me on Twitter like, "What does that mean? Play in your face?" Playing in somebody's face is basically being fake. It's like you're smiling, you're doing all the pleasantries, but then you're still doing conniving shit behind someone's back. So the current NABJ president, who only has 1 year left, I cannot wait till her term is over. To be quite honest, because there's just been a lot of hateration, towards young people, a lot of paternalism, a lot of the energy from the current NABJ leadership. There has been moments where I felt like it's been homophobic. And this is me talking from my personal experience. It has definitely been paternalism. It's been a lot of just a lot of bullshit. And I don't even know how to say it in any proper way. And so I am going to this convention to represent Philadelphia, to represent the freelancers, because this organization right now has been very heavily fixated on broadcast journalists, like specifically TV people, local TV people. They don't really pay much mind to the print and the freelance and the entrepreneur journalists, even though we represent the future. So I'm going to this convention, one, to make my presence known, let's be very clear, to represent Philadelphia first and foremost, and to also let people know that we ain't never scared over here. So we will be there. No, Ernest does not get in fights. We don't do fights. But I do arguments. I'm always here for a good argument and debate. But I will definitely look forward to going to convention, seeing a couple of people in person. Because, people have a Twitter voice, but a lot of people don't have that in-person voice. I like that in-person activity. It's a lot of that Twitter activity going on. It's a lot of that Facebooking and the little sidebars. But, when you show up to a convention, a badder bitch than you were 3 years when you left it, and you walk in the room, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there was a great lyric from a song that I bang all the time that said, one, always be the realest in the room. I just take that, I take that to heart. So I am looking forward to coming to this convention to connect with, a lot of freelancers and young Black journalists, queer writers that's coming. I'm coming to promote my book. I'm coming to, network with the industry heavyweights. And I'm also here to settle some scores and to just let it be known that I was aware of some things and I saw some things. I just want them to know that I see it in person. Because a lot of the Twitter stuff, it's just a lot of that. But we're going to see, what happens when we're on site, for some of the folks that got Twitter fingers. But I'm happy that I also have a good group. My mom's coming, my stepdad, my family, my folks are coming because they love Vegas. My mom is in love with Vegas, as you know. So it is a family affair too. So it's always fun when you do. And then, of course, Mr. Johnson's coming. Because how could I do days in Vegas at a lovely, luxurious hotel and not have anyone to cuddle with throughout that time? So yes, Mr. Johnson will be there. And some good friends and stuff. So I'm looking forward to the full Vegas experience yet again, because I loved Vegas for my mom's birthday in January, but I really am excited to follow up. I'm really excited with the food, to be honest. I've been thinking about Hell's Kitchen ever since January. I've been thinking about watching those clips I've been even watching the clips of the risotto and the beef Wellington and the scallops. I've been just thinking about that tasting menu. It's just, I have to have that experience, and I can't wait to tell you about it. And I can't wait to go to Jose Andres' Bizarre Beats. Heard 1,000 things about it. And, I'm just looking forward to lots of good times and experiences and some grown-up shit. So, going to Vegas Tuesday out. Which means, as you all probably can guess, I am missing out on Best of Philly. We haven't had an in-person Best of Philly in a minute. So, it's going to be epic. And I will tell you all that there is a special discount code. It's not too late to get tickets. There's still some tickets left. Put in all caps, BOP20. BOP20. Get it, Best of Philly 20, to save $20 off of your ticket. That is not cheap. Okay, $20, y'all. If you're interested in going, that is my discount code. So you can apply it if you were like on the fence of like whether you want to go to Best of Philly or not, or you was looking to go, but you know, you was looking at the ticket prices and you was like, well, will $20 off change your mind? I hope so. So the discount code, my discount code is BOP20 to save $20 off your ticket. And that's an exclusive on this podcast. If you listen to this podcast, you won't see this discount code everywhere else, but get your tickets, baby. Okay, say that $20. So it's gonna be fun. Good restaurants, great people on the lists. I'm so excited. The issue's out. The photo shoot was epic. If you want to see how we got that epic cover photo for Best of Philly for the August issue, please check out our Instagram at Philly Mag on Instagram to see just how that water ice situation happened with the love statue. It's dope. And yes, and September issue is going to be exciting too. I will tell this much and tease it to you, but I am like basically close to finishing a very epic long form story for the September issue of Philadelphia Magazine. I haven't been in print in this type of way in a long time, but I knew if I was coming back, I wanted to do something very different. I wanted to do something very juicy, and this is juicy as hell. It's a big long form piece. I'm talking like 5,000 words, and I've been reporting on it throughout the entire summer. It is a profile on a person that deserves a profile. It's a big story. It's going to be talked about, and I can't wait to talk about it on the podcast. And I can't wait for you all to read it. It's going to be in the September issue. I'm saying this now because the final draft has been submitted, and you know I've been doing revisions and things, but we're pretty much dotting the T's. Photo shoots have been done. This story is going to be epic. So I cannot wait for that. Just want to put that out there. And I did not think about my other big news, which I'm just it's coming, guys. It's coming. I feel like I'm Normani now, but I will say the update is that the contract has been completed. The contract has been agreed. It's settled. Everything is in place. All I got to do, well, actually, I've already signed it. Now it's probably going to come out anytime between now and probably the week. So I keep saying it each time because the process, but this is why I learned that you can't announce anything until every dot is I'd and every T is crossed. Every I is dotted or whatever, and every T is crossed. But you get what I'm saying. I cannot wait to announce that, because that is some big news. And you all have been asking for it and talking about it, and I just can't wait for it to finally be told, because then I can just say it and say it to everybody, and it's going to be so exciting, and everyone's going to be so happy, and it's going to be chaos. So I'm just taking my pretty time and making sure everything's right, because contracts matter and business matters, and you got to make sure everything is all the way to a T. No, I'm not leaving Philadelphia, so we can just get that out the way now. No, I'm not leaving. Everyone's always like, you're leaving Philadelphia, you're going to leave us. It's like this. Listen, you keep saying that in the universe is going to be happening. I have no plans to leave. Did I just tell you we got a new place? We just got a new spot? Like, clearly I'm committed to staying in Philadelphia, but listen. We could be bi-coastal. We could be, tri-state. We could do all of that. I don't want to leave you guys because, listen, New York is overrated, okay? One of my friends went to New York, and Chad, I was hearing all the tea. So, speaking of everything, now that we're on to the hot topics. So, President Biden has gotten COVID again. Now, the last time I did this podcast, it looked like Biden was doing okay. Well, there's been some situation. He's okay, like physically. He does not appear to be showing any symptoms, but he tested positive again. Some medicine he had like a reflex or some reset. So basically, he tested positive. He is doing okay. He's not showing any extreme symptoms like the last time. He seems to be doing fine, but he's basically isolating himself. Listen, this is just where we are in this country with COVID, y'all. I just, everybody want to keep going back outside. And honestly, we have to. But, what we can do when we go back outside, or we are outside, is wear a damn mask. Because I'm going to be Naomi Campbell on this fucking flight. Let me tell you some of the things I'm going to be doing. I'm on my Naomi Campbell tip. I'm not playing with masks. Masking The moment I get into that Uber straight to the airport, there will be a mask on my face, and that mask is not coming the fuck off. We're not eating on this plane. We're napping. Eat the meal, drink the water, do everything before. I'm not playing at the airport. Mask is staying on my face the entire time. Also, too, one of the things I'm also have been big on is that I don't travel as much as you all know. I'm not really crazy about air travel, but I've made a commitment that every time I do travel, it's going to be nonstop. I have to do a nonstop. I will not do a break here, a break there. I can't. If I got to pay extra, whatever. I have to do nonstop. All these cancellations and reschedulings mentally, I just can't imagine all of those layaways and all that in between because once I'm on a plane, I'm going one place and one place to my destination. I'm not doing any nonstops. There just cannot. So I'm taking the long 5 hour. I'm going to sleep my way through, get up, get to the hotel. And I think that's also a way for me to just avoid as many ways as possible. Like if I'm changing plane to plane, all of that, that's just, increasing the risk and also just being, I just want to avoid as much time. I just want to get my ass on a plane and go straight there nonstop because any breaks is when connecting flights and stuff, that's when stuff gets fuzzy. So it's going to be straight nonstop unless there's no way I can do that. What else? Lysols, we're keeping Lysols on us. We're keeping Lysol, wipes. We're wiping shit down. We're not playing. We're not playing. I'm not playing with COVID. We're not playing on planes. I know planes are talking about all this air conditioning, vape. Oh, that's cute. You do that, and I'm gonna still do what I do too. Period. We're not playing with it. Hand sanitizer, of course. That's it. I'm not talking to people on the plane. I mean, husband and I sitting on the plane together. Mr. Johnson and I are being next to each other. I'm just not. Yeah, it's been a minute, y'all. I haven't been on a plane. I was on a plane in January for Vegas. I think that was a nonstop, and that was in the middle of everything, so that was all right. We came out alive clearly. Boosted, I will tell you that, I'm not waiting till September. Apparently, there will be another booster shot that'll be available in September. That's updated, quote unquote. But I'm going to keep it real with you. I got a second one a month ago because I was just like, first of all, apparently, it does not harm you. Even if you're not necessarily have to get another booster, you're not quote unquote recommended, it doesn't hurt to get another one. Some CVS's, some people will allow it. They're not giving you a hard time because at this point it's like whatever. And granted, some people say, well, this doesn't protect against some of the other ones. But let me tell you this about boosters in general. From my experience, I have not gotten COVID yet. Knocking on wood, this is a wooden table. I have not gotten it. Here we are the next week. I keep tests with me. I'm packing up tests. My government test came in for COVID tests. I tell you all, I get 2 COVID tests a week. I get them. What's my routine? My routine is on Sunday, so that was yesterday. Got the Sunday test, and then I get a test on Thursday. That's been my flow. It's been Tuesdays and Thursdays. So before the weekend and after the weekend, kind of like a little mid-break. And every time those tests come up negative, I'm staying well. I'm keeping in my bubble. But I'm going to Vegas, so I had to get the test again. We're going to get the test again on Thursday because that would have been time between. So, that's my safety protocol. That's how I've been keeping the friends around me safe. I get it. I get it that everyone is not doing it. But listen, if you're going to go outside as much as I fucking do, you gotta, it's good to not have symptoms, but you need to be getting tested and keep your vaccination. So I got a double booster. Mr. Johnson got a double booster. We just said, listen, we're going to do it. And also what I heard is that second booster does not conflict with you getting your next booster in September if you put some space in between. That's what I've read. But of course, talk to your physicians, your health people, get advice, do all that stuff. Because I'm not a doctor. I'm just talking from my personal experience. But I'm not playing with COVID. I'm not playing with COVID. And I'm definitely not playing with no motherfucking monkeypox. So monkeypox is definitely the United States we're number one. We're number one, said my good friend Leslie Mack. Jokingly, we now have over 5,000 cases of monkeypox in the United States. They're increasing. Monkeypox is spreading like wildfire. But monkeypox isn't a STI. Everyone keeps saying it's STI. It's not an STI. It's not a sexually transmittable infection or disease or any of that, okay? However, it is appearing to be spreading disproportionately in LGBTQ spaces, possibly because of nightclubs, maybe sex work, and different experiences. But that does not mean it's a gay disease because it definitely isn't. A lot of people are getting monkeypox, even children are. And there's been some nasty press that's been trying to connect it specifically to the LGBTQI community. That being said, while we are not going to stereotype this, it is cities like San Francisco and other places that are seeing it largely amongst the LGBTQI population, and access to getting a vaccine is very important. Now, I have not gotten a vaccine. I don't feel the need to at this moment. I don't fit the criteria to get a vaccine. I know in New York, in certain places, it's if you're a gay man, if you're a gay male, arguably they have preference for people of color. But if you're a gay man who's had multiple partners, which is clearly not my situation or my husband's, clearly, we don't qualify. So everybody's like, Ernest, you as a gay man, are you getting the monkeypox vaccine? No, because if you read the descriptions, someone like myself don't actually fit that criteria. I don't know. I hate that it's being targeted specifically to LGBTQ, specifically to gay men, queer men, because the cases that we're seeing also, in addition to those monkeypox cases, is also impacting cis women as well. There's been some that have been on social media, and just the photos of the skin, the rashes. This is some shit you don't want to fucking get. I know a friend who has contracted monkeypox. No one in my immediate circle that I know personally have gotten it. But there are people in New York that I'm affiliated with or associated with through other friends that have had it. And the stories I'm hearing, oh my God, and the pictures, it is no joke. To be honest, from what I'm hearing, it's be mindful about how you're engaging with people, whether it's kissing, whether it's sex, whether it's rubbing skin together. Look at hands. People look at your body, look at skins, open cut wounds. If you're the kind of person that go up to random strangers and hug them in the street, maybe you want to back the fuck off and give people social distance. I mean, the same rules apply for all these things. You might want to, if you don't know, if you're looking at something, if you're seeing people, if people are showing symptoms, if you got a rash or something on yourself that you don't know what it is, before you go out here in these streets twerking and doing what you're doing, or just frolicking, you might want to get that checked out. Like, just, this is not the time to say it couldn't be me. And that goes for everybody of all backgrounds, gender identities, and whatnot. Hysteria does not, and panic does not cure diseases. Let's be clear, cure viruses. It does not, right? So the reality is not to create a situation where you're like panicking and treating people like pariahs or creating bad, nasty stereotypes, correct? What you should be doing, however, is just being smart about where you're going, being mindful about how you're interacting, and honestly, we should be doing this anyway for COVID. Like, honestly, all the tips that tell people to avoid monkeypox is the same shit you should have been doing with COVID. I don't know why. Well, see, let me not go there. But if the way that you will not put yourself at risk for COVID is the same way that you likely will not get monkeypox, because it requires the same type of vigilance and mindfulness. Like, that's just what you just got to do. Protect yourself, be mindful, don't be stupid, don't be disrespectful, right? Don't be a bigot, right? Don't do that, because that doesn't cure anything. Like, it didn't cure COVID. When people was having Asian hate, that didn't stop COVID, right? Having anti-Asian sentiment did not do anything to address COVID. So let's not come into this with the same type of ignorance. And mainstream, predominantly white media, oh my God, you guys have made me fucking sick this week. There's been just so much stuff. That's just a bunch of red flags. Just a bunch of what the fuck was that moments that just grinded my gears, y'all. And I don't even say grind gears. That's how you know it grinded my gears, because I don't even say grind my gears. But that's just how I felt. I'm sipping on a Recess, which is like, I love Recess, y'all. This is my favorite drink in the world. It is a calming hemp and adaptogen infused sparkling water, calm, cool, collected. It's like hemp. It's It relaxes me. My This flavor I'm drinking right now is the coconut lime. Oh, it's so good. It's an antidote to modern times, they say. You can get a subscription for it, like a medical subscription, like a subscription. Let me be clear, a prescription, right? But you can get a subscription. You can a box set, sampler set on Recess's website. But it's a great sparkling water. It's low calories, low carbs. It's very like a light, easy breezy drink that you can have multiple cans of. It relaxes and calms. So it's like the official, let me clarify, the unofficial beverage of Ernestly speaking. It's like beer to me, even though I don't drink beer. It's like a beer for me. Like I'm gonna go get a recess and reassess shit. But it's just a great drink. It's for adults. I don't recommend it to kids, clearly, but it's not like alcoholic at all. Let me be very clear. It's very non-alcoholic, but just the vibe of it all. Like, I mean, it's just takes you to nirvana. So I'm a big fan. I love Reese's. All the flavors. Okay, all the flavors. Every flavor is great, but I guess I love the coconut lime one. I love that flavor. The sampler is just perfect because it's like different flavors and matches my moods. I love, oh my God, the peach ginger is really good. The, oh my goodness, is it the hibiscus chai? I think it is. It's so good. Like it's so many great flavors. Actually, I feel like I just when I see something I like, you always tell me like when there's something that I like that I think is great, you always tell me to like remind you or tell you all what they are. So the flavor that comes into the sampler is peach ginger, blackberry chai, pomegranate hibiscus, black cherry, coconut lime, and blood orange. All of those flavors are the bomb. And there's also they have Recess Mood, which is a really good flavor as well. And Recess Mood is there's no hemp in that one. It's pretty much, how would I describe it? So it has magnesium and adaptogens that calm the mind and lift the mood. It's very light. It doesn't cost as much as the original Recess, but I also mix and match my Recess flavors too. So the Recess flavors for mood is strawberry rosé, again non-alcoholic, peach ginger, blood orange, and they have a black cherry. So what makes Recess good is that I love that strawberry rosé. All of the other flavors are good too. It's also the original flavors, but the strawberry rosé is specifically for the mood box. So they don't have a original Recess in that flavor. But there's also another options. They have powders that you can add to your water. I haven't done that. And they also have a limited edition zero proof margarita flavor. Haven't tried that, but it sounds good. But they also have powders that you can add to your water that comes with electrolytes and magnesium and things of that nature. And it's all in mood flavors because they don't have any powdered like hemp versions. So it's all mood flavors, which comes with like a lemon citrus option. They have a gradient berry flavor, an unflavored version just in general, like if you just want the magnesium super blend, which is interesting. But it's good and relaxing. I'm a fan. That's all I can say. I'm going to stand out. I love a good product. I'm going to promote it. So, yes, love them a lot. But back to everything else. Biden has COVID again. Hopefully he's going to get well soon. I mean, this is just where we're at. Don't freak out about monkeypox. But also back to climate change a little bit. So there has been a climate change Green Deal. I don't want to call it a Green Deal, but there's been some package that will help support climate change. Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer came to an agreement. They brokered a deal in the Senate, which will likely help it advance. However, Kristen Sinema is being a hater. And apparently there's rumors and speculation that she might, demand something different. I'm so tired of these Democrats. I'm so tired of these moderate Democrats. Like, we have to really vote them out. Like my good fave, David Hogg, has been saying on this gun issue. Like, people are getting upset that he's being critical of the administration. But it's time. We have to elect different Democrats or just elect different people. But we can't Republicans right now. It's just not happening. But moderates are just Republicans from 2008. That's how I feel. These neoliberals will not save us. They just won't. And they just won't. I've checked out a little bit on some of the antics nationally. I am going to vote, of course, at the midterms, but I'm more excited about what's happening in Pennsylvania with the midterms. Like John Fetterman being the next U.S. senator would be dope. Josh Shapiro and Austin Davis will have hopefully the first black lieutenant governor, the first black person to ever win a statewide major seat in Pennsylvania. Like, we're making history. Like, come on, you all. Like, I'm just, yeah. If Pennsylvania gets that major win and defeats Dr. Oz, woo! Wouldn't that be excellent? So, super excited about that. Now, to the GOP, because we're like both sides. On the other side, the GOP, y'all, something's going on with them and Trump. I've been talking about this for the past couple of episodes, and a lot of you have told me personally that you love that the show makes you feel smart, woke, and entertained and everything else. And you all like when I talk about politics, which I love that you all do, because I love talking about politics, especially local politics. But the GOP and Trump are like having an interesting relationship. The GOP is the grand old party, aka the Republicans. There is establishment Republicans that are distancing themselves from Trump, but now it's at the media. There was a story that came out in the New York Times that reported that there has been over 100 days of Fox News not interviewing Trump. Y'all, this is a big deal. It's been over 3 months, and Fox News has not given Trump an interview. And they're not really, running any of his rallies on TV anymore. Like, they're distancing themselves from him. Walter Murdoch is like, look, fuck Trump. He over Trump. And part of this could be the fact that, Fox News has been hit with some really serious multi-million-dollar lawsuits around the election fraud claims they were pushing. And look, Trump ain't paying for those bills. So I think there's an element of them being over it. Wall Street Journal just published some op-eds against Trump and the behavior, basically, criticizing him and saying he's unfit after the January 6th, interviews in the commission and the hearings. So there is some distance happening right now from the conservative media. Wall Street Journal has always had a conservative type of slant with the endorsements they've made, some of the things, the way they've written about Trump or they've criticized Democrats. Fox News, a lot of these people are like moving away from him, which is very, very telling. But also, in other news, OAN, that real extreme right-wing extremist news channel has been canceled by Verizon. Verizon has cut them off of the payroll. They're not, they're going to, this is going to basically end them. They're now trying to beg for liberals and other moderates and folks to support them and listen to the show, or because they're scared. They're trying to make the case that this could happen to their side of the aisle too. Well, we'll see when it happens. Fuck out of here. Like, I don't care. Nope. You're going down. Okay, you're going down. So OAN is down, but because capitalism's full of shit. They ain't letting go of Newsmax, that other disgusting, despicable far-right channel. They're not getting rid of Newsmax. So just when you thought people had a heart, they don't have a heart. Corporations don't have a heart. They're keeping Newsmax, it seems like, but they're cutting off OAN, which is a big deal, a major death blow. Who knows? Maybe Newsmax might be cut next. But it's getting interesting. So there will be no more Verizon Files or OAN. It's telling y'all. It's telling. But here we go. Now, following on, again, why predominantly white legacy media sucks and what's going on. There's been a lot of white media redemptions of some problematic white folks on both sides. Again, Chris Cuomo, who's a brother of disgraced former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who was at CNN, got fired by CNN after looking like he was doing a lot of dirty work for his brother and a lot of unprofessional behavior overall. He is now coming to News Nation, not Newsmax, News Nation. And he's going to have his own show. He's got a podcast that has been climbing up the charts. Chris Cuomo is back, y'all. He's back. The people are giving him his guts. Now, this is great for my book, The Case for Council Culture, because I talk about how certain people can get canceled and others don't, and white privilege and all that jazz. So Chris Cuomo fits one of my theories in my book. We're going to have so much fun with that book, okay? The Case for Council Culture, coming February 21st, 2023. But I'm not surprised, because I kept saying to myself, the moment he got let go from CNN, I was like, he's coming back, y'all. He's a white man. He's a white, straight man. He's coming back. He ain't going anywhere. Andrew coming too, baby. Andrew coming too. We don't know what he gonna do, but Andrew's coming back too. The only one who can't come back is Harvey Weinstein because he got locked up. But let him have not been locked up. He would have came back. Look at Bill Cosby, done popped out. He's trying to show his ass again. Like, fuck these guys, these horrible people, right? But here we are. Chris Cuomo said he coming back, y'all. He's doing interviews. He's talking big shit, talking about defending the media against tribal two-party coverage, talking about there should be no two-party system. Look, you don't need to be having your brother's talking points now. Now, don't do all that. Because that's what Andrew Cuomo was at. He was bitching about council culture, talking about how, he was getting mad at everybody. The Democrats done sacked his brother. The Republicans ain't shit. Now he don't like two-party systems. But these were like the biggest loyalists, okay? Their father was the governor of New York. Like, they come from a lineage. Now, the Cuomos have come from a lineage. And there's some people that still like the Cuomos. Just like y'all like Bill Clinton. It's that kind of energy. Like, a lot of people are not at all cutting him off. There's a lot of people that's probably like him. But see, the thing about Andrew Cuomo, like, I will say this about him. His situation, like, I know people that was involved in that. So let me clarify this before the streets start talking. I felt like, before the controversies came out, I thought Andrew Cuomo appears to be an upstanding guy. A tough Democrat, but he seemed like a friend. His policies were progressive. He seemed like a decent guy during the pandemic. I did have issues as a journalist with his relationship with Chris Cuomo on CNN. They were a little bit too bro-y for me, and I thought that was a little bit like, watch out, because then we found out what happens, right? It backfired. But it's during the pandemic, early pandemic, Andrew was looking like a decent dude. Then this stuff comes out, and then more stuff comes out about the nursing homes, about how he basically lied about how bad COVID was impacting New York. I mean, it was just bad. It was just bad. And I just think all of the things he was accused of. It's not just sexual harassment allegations. It's about the leadership. He did a lot of bad leadership moves during COVID that also got revealed. And I think people lose sight of that behind the salation that took place. So, like, don't let them just write it off as he made one mistake. He needs to talk about all the shit he was doing while he was in the governor's mansion. Not just the sexual scandals, but let's talk about the lying about COVID, the COVID cases, the nursing home situations. It was a lot of shit going on over there. So, not too keen. And Chris Cuomo, little Cuomo needs to be quiet. Or as somebody called him, Fredo, from Godfather, and he was trying to act like it was a racial slur. It's like, okay, Chris. Okay, Chris. That's just how I'm going to go with that. Probably not the nicest thing to say. Maybe problematic in its own ways, of course, in the stereotypes. But racial slur, compared it to the N-word. Now, Chris. Fredo was a gangster in Godfather. Fredo was not the best brother, but let's be clear. Fredo was not enslaved. Okay? Just saying. Chris was doing too much. Now, and other people that's doing too much. Now, Alyssa Farah, who is this conservative voice who's been on View. I mean, raise your hands on the air. Are any of y'all still watching The View? I don't. I'm going to tell you how I really feel today. I'm not really watching The View. I haven't watched The View in years. Now, when I was younger, my grandmother was still alive. The View used to come on. I remember being younger, and it would come on before the soap operas. If I got this right. It was before the soap operas. And so, before All My Children, One Life to Live, what was the other show? It was like All My Children. It was All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital. Okay? That's how it used to be. All My Children was the shit. Okay? Erica Kane, baby. Susan Lucci. Y'all know my love for Susan Lucci. I talked about her all in season 1. I love Susan Lucci. Okay? Susan Lucci can do no wrong. Okay? Erica Kane is an iconic character in television history. Okay? And she finally won that Emmy, and Oprah was screaming for her. That's how excited we were when she won. If you have not seen this clip, look up Susan Lucci wins Emmy Award in 1989 and tell me if you don't cry. I cry. It makes me cry. There are certain things I do, one of my weird pet peeves. I don't think I've ever said this out loud before. Maybe I have. But when I want motivation, or I want to feel a level of joy or emotional boost, I watch award show acceptance speeches on YouTube. It doesn't matter which ones they are. Like they could be the Emmys, Tonys, Grammys. I just go back and watch people win acceptance speeches, or were they surprised when they win? And there's a couple that I watch that just hits me every time. Her winning is just everything, because if you know the background story around how Susan Lucci had been nominated like over 15 something times, and then she finally won, it's breathtaking. Halle Berry, of course, winning Best Actress at the Oscars, and her reaction, her speech, just every time it brings me to tears. And who else won? That was just also exciting. Oh, well, not necessarily emotional, but just funny and just like feels good. Meryl Streep winning an Emmy for Angels in America. Just the way she wins, how she accepts her award, how she does it very cute and casual. Just also a very good one. Couple other good ones. Viola Davis winning the Emmy for Best Actress for How to Get Away with Murder, which made her the first Black actress to ever win. Notice my pattern here. I've not named any men barely. Have any male winner winning an award got me excited? There's some good speeches from some. I mean, Tom Hanks winning for Philadelphia is just gives me goosebumps. Just for what he says in his speech and just the energy. Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes, when he went for The Revenant, just the way the crowd went loud and clapped. When I watched that like in real time, I like lost it. I was like, finally. It was like the Super Bowl. We all wanted, Leonardo DiCaprio to win Best Actor. And granted, people say he should have won for The Wolf of Wall Street. You can debate your cat on that. I felt like he should have beat Jamie Foxx for The Aviator. But that is a very unpopular opinion. I will take that with me to the end of time, but that's how I feel about it. I think he should have won for that. Jamie Foxx's performance is great. He should have got a nomination, but I don't know. I just feel like Leonardo DiCaprio was at his best in Aviator, playing, of course, Howard Hughes. But anyway, I like to watch acceptance speeches. It makes me feel good. But I guess I digress. We're talking about The View. So, The View. I haven't watched The View growing up. I watched it with my grandmother, and I watched all my soap operas because we was making the linkage there. And I got into this diatribe about Susan Lucci and acceptance speeches. Okay, so don't you love that about this show? Like, we just do whatever. I try to be on a schedule. I do, but then I just, it's a stream of consciousness that come over me because this show is unscripted. But what I will say about The View is that those shows, The View was to set us up for getting ready to watch soap opera. Now that soap opera is kind of like a dying art to a certain extent, still a little love. Black actors are finally winning lead daytime Emmys finally for their performances, but I digress. What is very important about the show The View back in the day was that there was a time when both sides, quote unquote, made sense. So there was like Elizabeth Hasselbeck, who I guess is going to be a guest host on the show, I think next week or something, where there was Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and she would argue, and it was Rosie O'Donnell and things. And it was, of course, Rosie O'Donnell used to be on the show when she made the joke about Trump, and she had the hair move. She was great. You had, of course, Whoopi Goldberg, Barbara Walters. Y'all, I grew up in the Barbara Walters on The View era. If you don't know what I'm talking about, he too young for you, she too young for you, they too young for you, period. I grew up on the Barbara Walters The View. Personally, the moment Barbara Walters stopped being on The View, I felt like there was something missing. Like, Joy Behar is still good. They got Sunny on there now. Even Sherry Shepherd was on there. She had a moment. What's the other one? She was also in there. Was it Joy? Star Jones. When Star Jones was in the mix. Again, this is the old school View. Those were the days. This new View, the fact that like Whoopi Goldberg is like the spark or the excitement or the energy of the show now is telling you everything you know about how flat The View is. Because if you remember when The View first started, Whoopi was not the main, like she was not the firecracker of the show. It was like other folks who was on there. But things change. But I miss Barbara Walters. I miss the Barbara Walters on the View era. That was my favorite era. Rosie O'Donnell era. That was my... Elizabeth Hasselbeck was annoying as fuck, but they used to get Elizabeth together, and she used to have those white tears on the show. She used to be a white woman crying suburban mom. That was when Bush and Mitt Romney... That was that era, when both sides made sense. In 2022, having Trump folks on the show with common sense, with ignorance, with insanity, does not make sense. It does not make sense. And they should have learned that with Meghan McCain on there, because Meghan McCain was cuckoo as well, but like she was also one of the most far out just the racism and the bigotry that came out her mouth from the show, and how it was treated like, they argue with each other. They're not even having substantive conversations anymore. They're arguing with each other about facts. They're arguing about facts now. The stuff that used to just be common understanding has now become huge arguments. I don't think people have talked about this enough, and I'm not the person to do a deep dive on it, but can somebody do a dive into the fact that if you followed The View for the years, how back in the day, the things that they could just easily agree on and understand is now contentious topics. For example, racism. Back in the day, all of the show hosts could understand if somebody said something racist or whatever, or they're Republican or Democrat, that was not cool. There should be some consequence, and everyone could agree on that. Now, these people on the show, the conservative voice, quote unquote, is like, oh no, everything is cancel culture, which keeps saying it because that makes the book algorithms go up. But they keep saying everything's cancel culture, which is hypocrisy. They continue not to actually acknowledge any type of racism. It's very much like, that's not racist. There's no racism. Why do we keep talking about racism in schools? There was a time where they had diverse hosts sit their asses down and can listen to people talk about their books and movies, and it will be about race, it will be about other things, and there was not this contention. Now they argue over the most simplest facts, and I feel like they've gotten dumber as they've gotten older. I just feel like the hosts have got it, just the stuff they're talking about. It's and then Sunny, Sunny's cool, but then Sunny has her moments, right, where it just seems like she's acting, she's put in a position where she's presented like she's taking this bold stance, even though she's just saying shit that makes the fuck sense. It's just wild how the discourse has gotten very myopic. And I just don't know. Maybe people were smarter back then, because maybe on their show they were promoting books more. People was reading more. People were talking more. People was watching, movies that were not tattered with superheroes all fucking day. You could read a book, you could watch a movie, you could learn something different about yourself, and it wasn't a political statement. I feel like everything has gotten so politically polarizing, where if you read a certain book, if you listen to a certain album, then it's somehow an identity ticket to you. And I think that's why people can't understand me sometimes, because some of these, even I see extreme progressives do it, I see the conservatives do it, I see everyone do it now, where anything you like is supposed to be connected to some type of political stance or an ideology or something of the nature where it could just be, maybe this person just likes to read books, maybe this person just likes movies or whatever. It doesn't necessarily speak to all of their politics. We should know this already. We should know this. We should know. Donald Trump hung out with hip-hop stars and still was and hung out with diverse music artists and was cool with Russell Simmons and all these fucking rappers, and yet at the same time he's out here talking about, basically encouraging white supremacists and bigots and the police to terrorize these people's hoods. It don't add up. Don't try to make it make sense. That's not how culture works. It doesn't. You can't always put a political marker on people's tastes and interests. You just won't. I know there's a lot of white kids in suburbia that listen to hip-hop songs all day long, but don't give a fuck about black people and black culture. That's just life, y'all. And art is subjective in that way. And I think The View tries so hard, to create this really myopic scope of polarizing politics that just seems so cartoonish and amateurish. And I guess it's good for ratings. I guess. I don't know. But even the way they have Meghan McCain, does she really reflect all conservatives? Are we at that point now? Do we really think that Whoopi Goldberg and on these $1 million celebrities are reflective of working class, Democrats? I don't know. It's just stupid. It's a bunch of rich people, women, trying to analyze, you know, the rest of the country. And it's like, did we ever think that that concept does not work now with everything we're talking about class? Some stuff are relative to the past. Some stuff does not. Some shows don't make sense in this era. I might say that The View does not make sense as a TV format in 2022. Maybe that's a little extreme, but I'm just going to go there. Furthering my suggestion on that is that, you know, we have this woman, right, Alyssa Farah, who was a Trump loyalist. This woman been rocking with Trump, and she getting some kudos for speaking out about a couple of things. All these people working for Trump are now coming out and acting like it's like a new identity, right? It's a new scam, right? It's like, okay, I rode the gravy train of Trump. I was his bootlicker. I did everything for Trump. I was his big cheerleader. I did all of this shit. And now that Trump is losing fame and power, I gotta jump on a new gravy train. So now my new gravy train is, I'm going to tell you all the things Trump did that you thought he did, that I lied to you that he didn't do, that he actually did. And this time I'm going to do so, and you're going to pay me, and I'm going to go on TV shows, and I'm going to do a apology tour, and I'm going to resurrect my career. That is what every one of these people have been doing. And media, right, ABC, these corporations, media corporations, who are about to go to NABJ, okay, this convention, and talk about diversity and equity. I'm going to look at them, because I'm going to look at Kim Goodwin. She's probably going to be there. I'm going to say, Kim, Miss Goodwin, President Goodwin, I respect your tenacity and the work you've done. You've come from CBS, now you're at ABC. You've done incredible work in media. You're a media leader. How do you, in this setting, talk about the diversity and inclusion you're doing, but you're also giving jobs to people who align themselves with white supremacists? How do you justify that? How do you keep a workplace safe when people like that are given job opportunities, one of the most riveted television on-air jobs right now in the market? How do you, as a black woman in this position, justify that and put it up against diversity inclusion efforts? How? That's the kind of questions we need to be asking ABJ. Not star fucking and doing all the, oh my God, I love this person, selfie. No, it's like we gotta also ask them some tough questions too. That would be a question I would like to ask her. How do you do it? How do you justify it? You know, even with Meghan McCain, like the way that departure went down. How do you justify that? How do you defend that? And then you know, the type of level of reprimanding that Whoopi Goldberg had received, right, for the perceived anti-Semitism that she had did herself on the show, even though she went through an on-air apology learning pathway, right, in front of all of us. She went through that. But the crazy part is that she still got reprimanded. She still got suspended off the show for a period of time. She still got all that. Meghan McCain went through that entire cycle saying some anti-Asian shit, some racist shit that she had to go back and circle back and apologize for, but not even apologize being urged to by the company, but just on her own merits. And she didn't get any of those stops. It's a hypocrisy for me. And I talked about this on previous episodes already, but these are the kind of questions I would like to ask these execs. So, you know, whether or not I get to ask them, probably maybe not. But those are the type of moments. Those are the type of things we should be doing. Because they're going to come to convention, they're going to play in our face. Theme of the day, playing in faces. Don't play in people's face. They're going to come there, they're going to do the whole diversity, inclusion. We're doing great things. Come work for us. But I'm over here looking at all of these headlines and stories and the type of people you all are having and giving checks to. Just not feeling it. So, you know, they're saying that she's going to get this job. She's going to replace Meghan McCain. She's going to be the permanent conservative voice. That is what is being said in the tabloids and in the press and things. They said the deal is not official yet. It might be, but I hope people put pressure on her to keep her out of it, to be honest. I hope that people put enough pressure on her to keep her out of it. I just don't want her in it. And I don't feel like they need to have a conservative voice like that. I mean, or let's get somebody else, or I don't know. I just think trying to put anybody from the Trump administration in that kind of way, no. I mean, if you're going to go that route, give Omarosa a check in a seat. Hell, go ahead and give Omarosa. Now, she'll be entertaining. And I would love to see a dark-skinned woman outside of Whoopi Goldberg with her perspective on the show. Since we're going to put out wild cards. I propose Omarosa. She got TV bona fides. The woman knows how to handle her own with other white women. She's rich, bitch. She would get the job done. And honestly, she's going to tell us a nuanced perspective on her 5 seconds with Trump. And she might convert over. Who knows? That is who I pick for The View. If we're going to resurrect the show, put Omarosa on there. She could go to, I want to see her go toe to toe with something with on that show. She went to HBCU, Howard, so they can't try to pull a black card. She's down with the cause. I've met Omarosa a couple times. Problematic Omarosa, Democratic Omarosa. I remember when Omarosa was the DNC in 2016, and then she was in the Trump administration in 2017. Both years, I met her 5 years. I saw her 5 years ago. Last time I seen her was 5 years ago at the NABJ convention in New Orleans. That was the year I won Emerging Journalist of the Year, 5 years ago. And look at my career today, still emerging. But she was there, saw her, got a picture of her. It was crazy. It was go and look up Omarosa NABJ convention 2017. The situation that happened at her panel is legendary, y'all. Legendary. You had to be there to see it. You had to be in the room to see how it went down. And those were the days, because she was there talking about something that had nothing to do with Trump. But the black journalist in that room was like, you're not going to play in our face, Omarosa. Why are you here? What's going on with Trump? Can you speak on that? I mean, it's classic. It's iconic. Just, there's tons of articles. The Root did a story, I believe, on it. A lot of press did. Look up that situation. But let me just put it this way. Fun fact with me. When she was headed out of there, because she was pissed off, she was with a couple other of her people on the elevator. I was in the elevator with her. When she was headed back to her room. She was angry. And there was some things said in the elevator. Of course shit goes down when you got millionaires in the elevator. I don't think no one was billionaires. But it was a lot going on in the elevator. I will never repeat it of what I heard. Now, my friends and people will talk off the air. But I heard some things, and it just let me know. I would just say, what I will say is that I realized that she was not going to be in there that long in that moment. That's all I will say about what I heard in that elevator. I won't get into specifics of who, what, where. Some of the people that's in that elevator are no longer alive. I will also add that point. There are some people that clearly took that situation to the grave with them. But I was in that elevator. And, I didn't record anything. That's not what type of time I was on. Because I wasn't expecting to be in the elevator. But I did get a selfie with her to confirm receipt. But, yes, that's all I'm going to say. All right. Moving along. Now, there's this pastor in New York still in, and people have been asking me what I think about it, because y'all know I love I don't love grifting, and I don't like scams. But I like to expose scams and talk about them. This pastor, y'all, in New York, okay, I knew it was too good to be true. The scandal with him is wild. This is the kind of stuff that is just beyond. So he was robbed at gunpoint while he was doing a live situation. It was covered internationally. He was a flashy Brooklyn pastor. He was known for the designer suits, his jewelry. I mean, just head to toe, always dressed up right. And the story was just a lot. I mean, it was a lot. His name is Bishop Lamar Whitehead. He is the leader. He runs the Leaders of Tomorrow International Churches. And he's just known for being flashy and excessive with his wealth, okay? He claims that New York Mayor Eric Adams, who was the former president of his Brooklyn borough, was his mentor. Because he was the former president of Brooklyn borough, was Eric Adams. He said that's his mentor. Eric Adams, please announce this man immediately. Please listen, Mr. Adams, Mayor Adams. I know somewhere my friend Abel is listening to this podcast in this part. And he's looking at me like, Ernestly, birds of a feather flock together. I was like, I know. I don't understand. Okay. But the crazy part about it is that, he too much went down with him, this man. This man, They came in, robbed him on a live video on Instagram. They drove off in a Mercedes. He claimed they took $1 million worth of jewelry from him, but some people are saying $400,000. It's complicated. He said it was a gift and a curse to be a known religious figure, but he had made some news. He had already kind of had a reputation. I mean, if anybody in New York, NYC, remember the NYC subway shooting suspect, Andrew Abdullah, he mediated the surrender in May. And so I don't know, Eric Adams, has something to do with that, but people also talked about how flashy he was then. And to be clear, his wife and him are also involved in business and ministry. They own mortgages and real estate companies. All this stuff about this man. I mean, Mr. Man over here, which I was just like, wait, who does this? Like, who is this man? And I said to myself, when I first heard this, I said, well, that's what the fuck he gets. I was not sympathetic for him. Flashy pastors in neighborhoods, in impoverished neighborhoods, I'm not here for him. Lots have been said. It's been a lot. But apparently, one of the new things that's being said about him is that it's about to go down. There's been accusations that it was staged for insurance. So one of the messy things was that he had to deny on this past Friday, that the robbery was staged for insurance. He did a emergency press conference, which we don't even know who was there. But basically, he denied this scenario that he was trying to win sympathy. Quote unquote, he was talking about some Fendi, Louis, Gucci. Why can't we wear that in church? What's wrong with that? There's a lot of things wrong with that, sir. But let's also be clear that, there's been some drama that this trio of mass thieves robbing him in the middle of a sermon, he has had to fight back that made him, a target. But he's had some other problems. There has been a newly uncovered lawsuit that has accused him of bilking a parishioner out of $90,000 in life savings. So in other words, he's got a history, allegedly, of scamming people. But he has clarified his relationship with Adams and said that Adams just has encouraged him to keep his head strong. We'll see. It's just, it's very interesting. Eric Adams, at an unrelated press conference, had basically said that he has had many relationships with people and will continue to mentor this scammer, because he said it's, quote, his obligation to mentor other Black men that had negative encounters in their lives and other people in general. I wonder if he gave money to Adams' campaign. I'll just leave it there. Come on. Now, I also want to add, not that criminal backgrounds matter. Maybe this man turned his life to God. But I just want to be clear that Miller Whitehead had previously did time upstate for grand larceny and identity theft charges. Just saying. Very, very telling. Very, very telling. I mean, quite frankly, I don't go to church. I haven't been a church girl in a long time. Anyone catch the reference? Church girl. But I haven't been, a church girl in a long time. And part of the reason why I would say is because of all the spectacle that comes with shit like this. Like, shit like this is just a distraction. But I just wonder who's going to a man's church like that. Who's giving this man money? Who's doing it? Praise God. All right. So, I've been super excited to sink my teeth into this portion of the podcast because it's the one that everyone's been talking about. Clearly, people want to know my thoughts about it. Of course, I'm going to talk about Renaissance and all of its, the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the phenomenal, everything. Okay, so starting off, I don't know how I want to do this. I think I want to talk about the album first, the album itself, and I'll get to all the mess with it. So let's start off. The album itself. 10/10, highly recommend. I know, right? I sound like a broken record. I really do think this is the album of the year thus far. It is definitely the album of the summer. This is a special album. It's the album I've wanted from Beyonce for a long time. Some of her greatest fans, Beyonce. I always was very critical about her stuff. But like my friend Amanda, Jamarcus, we talk about Beyonce in different ways. I just think that this album is the album I've always thought she could do. And when she did other albums, previous albums, I was always like, this is a great album. Like, she doesn't do bad music. Let's be clear. She doesn't. Like, I like songs by her that people just don't appreciate, Amanda. Like Worldwide Woman. I think Worldwide Woman is an incredible song, Jamarcus. I don't care what you all think. I'm going to be listening to it when I get off the plane in Vegas. I'm going to first put it on. I'm going to be tracking, letting everybody know I'm in Vegas. And when you go to my Instagram story, you see this sound audio clip from B-Day album, Deluxe Edition. You hear this Worldwide Woman bop. Understand where it came from and how it started. Because it's a troll song for them because they don't like it. They think the song is basic. I think the song had a lot of great depth and it spoke to the promising future she would have. Worldwide Woman, WW. And that's exactly who she became, a worldwide woman. She's spoken into existence. She manifested it. Anyway, I like this song. They don't like the song. I like the song because sometimes I like a little corny basic pop. I don't necessarily feel like it's supposed to be Grammy worthy, but it's just a fun tune. Who doesn't like it? They hate it. They hate it. So they also hate songs that are really popular that you guys will be like, what? But I digress. Amanda does not like Halo. And we all agree that EXO should have never happened. But she likes Rocket, and a lot of you all like Rocket. I just feel like Rocket is like, leave it alone. Leave D'Angelo's song alone. Like, leave that alone. Like, Beyonce needs to leave things alone sometimes. Sometimes. This album, keep everything, baby. But some of these songs, like she did her remix to Before I Let Go. I'm gonna say it now. It's been time, y'all. Fuck it. I hate that song. I hate that version. Leave it alone. No. The original Frank Mays featuring Frankie Beverly's. That is all we need. We do not need this remix cookout Disney Channel version. We don't need it. The dance don't make any sense. What are we stomping? No. Put it away. Homecoming is great. But what always makes me get annoyed with the Homecoming album and that whole experience is her trying to put that song out there. She should have left it alone. We do not need it. We don't want it. And it's gotten to the point where they will cut the song and play that. No, don't not play those songs next to each other. When you have a legendary great song, you don't put it next to it. It's like having, some great barbecue wings and putting some nasty vinegar coleslaw right next to it. Like, it does not need the coleslaw. Just give me the ribs. That's how I feel about that song. It is the coleslaw of an iconic slab of ribs that is the original Before I Let Go. Now go debate your cat. I'm not arguing with you on that. It's just not good. Leave it alone. We don't need it. Period. So outside of that, she has other great songs, and the album is great. So Renaissance itself is a great album. Let me explain this Renaissance album. For black queer fans and gay fans of Beyonce, specifically black, because it's important to emphasize that. Because white gays, they have their Renaissance. It's called Confessions on the Dance Floor by Madonna. And let me be clear, as a black gay man, I also enjoy Confessions on the Dance Floor by Madonna as well. I get the references because, unfortunately, unlike Black history is not embraced and put into mainstream schools. So, I can be able to understand white culture, even if I don't personally, partake in all of it, because we're all forced to. That's how white supremacy works. Unfortunately, we don't live in a black supremacist society where black culture is that way. So when people think that black people are being gatekeepy or black queer people are being gatekeepy, we're actually not being gatekeepy. The issue is that you all never give a fuck about our history or ourselves. So then finally, when we decide to push our own shit out there and embrace it, now you all want to act like we're hiding something from you. No, actually, the information is there. You just need to go do the work and research it. We didn't have to research European history. We didn't have to research anything about, the Crusades and Irish and imperialism. We was forced to do it. So before you all get into that, this album, I don't understand. She doesn't explain. What is a trade? What does she mean by that dress is ugly? Who is Uncle Johnny? Before you get into all of that, it's just, sorry, it's like, these are the disadvantages of being white, is that there are some top situations and cultures where you can't imperialize your way through queer black culture. You can't. Watch your rule. This is not the basic surface level embrace of black queer culture. This woman literally took some time. She probably took some college courses. She probably went to the pros. Clearly she went to legendary people to get the information. She probably submersed herself. She called, the descendants of Hector Evangelista. She did some research. Okay? The level of references that will go over all of you all's heads, the straight's heads, you're not getting it. And you know what? I'm not telling you about all of it. I just don't have time. It's just some, and she went deep. She just went deep. I don't have time to explain the references. I don't have time to tell you what documentary. Go watch The Queen. The Queen. The put in Drag Ball The Queen. You'll understand one of the references. Look up some of these people. Listen to the song Cunty and figure out what that means. But there is a lot of references that she put in this album that made it very clear that this was a love letter for Black, queer, and trans fans. It's obvious. It's obvious. The spirit of Uncle Johnny, which is her uncle, who's her gay Black uncle, who clearly gave her style, that clearly the spirit of him with this album to make it as great as it is. Because everything that Black queer people touch in art actually is like exceptional, except for like stuff by like Saucy Santana. But anyway, there's a lot of great stuff. Like she just put her hands in it, and it's clear that the spirit of Uncle Johnny resonated in this album. Her uncle clearly had a huge influence in her life. He died of HIV when she was very young, but definitely was someone that was important to her. And, you know, Beyonce's previous, you know, embrace of the community, of the gay community has always been great. It's been good. But I was always like, where's that extra? Like, she won the GLAAD award with Jay-Z, which I was so annoyed that he won that Vanguard award with her. Like, anyway, but her husband is like the most... I like her. That's all I'll say. I just love her down. But but I would say that she if you followed Beyonce, she had a GLAAD acceptance speech, meaning she won the Vanguard Award with her husband Jay-Z, and she was talking about Uncle Johnny then. And so it's interesting that maybe was she dropping hints that she was going to be, her next album was going to be inspired by him? Is this like the Joanne that the fans wanted? Is this like the Black Joanne? Because, like Gaga wrote an album called Joanne about her deceased aunt that she never met. This person is clearly, she could have called the part Act 1, she could have called it Uncle Johnny, or Uncle Johnny's Good Time, or Uncle Johnny's Renaissance. I don't know, but it's clear that his influence was in this first act, this Act 1 of Renaissance. And I wonder if it's like a family thing. Like, is there deceased people that inspired her, that she's making each album going to be inspired by a family member? I don't know, but it is one of 3 acts. We're not done yet, and it's a part of this 3-act project, because we don't know if the next 2 projects are going to be music. It could be visuals. It could be something else. The tour could be Act 3. The visuals could be Act 2, because we did not get the Break My Soul music video. Yes, guys, my predictions. Trying to predict Beyonce. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. Guess we're not going to get a Break My Soul video. Guess we're just going to have to just... She's doing things different. She flips the table. She resets everything. That's just what she does. That's what a cultural reset is. She just changes it up. And, you can appreciate that. I've definitely given Beyonce more money I've ever given her in my entire life. I got all 4 box sets. And I have the limited edition vinyl. I thought I didn't have that vinyl, but I do. The special edition, limited edition vinyl with the alternative cover. I have that. What else did I get? I have a couple other little merch. She got some new merch. I bought a couple of silly things. But outside of that, yeah, I really, really loved the album. You can tell that Solange, because everyone's leaving out the sister, you can tell Solange has some influence with this album. For those who listen to Solange, and I'm not just talking about Cranes in the Sky Solange, you could tell that some of the coolness of this album is also heavily influenced by Solange. You could tell Solange was in the studio with her, giving her life and just gassing her up. Now let's talk about references real quick, because people are so fucking stupid. Now, there's the reference where she says, "Don't mess with my sis," or "Don't play with my sis," in one of the songs. I think this is Alien Spaceships, Alien Superstar. The issue is that they're saying, that it looks like she might be referencing the hotel incident on the elevator, with the elevator incident. No, she's not, y'all. Sis is a reference. It's a queer reference. S-I-S, sis. Not sis as in cishet. It's like people say, "Oh, don't mess with my good sis." Sis is not the actual sister. Like, Jamarcus is my good sis. It's a queer framing of my sis. And also, straight Black women use it too. But it's not sis in that reference. It's sis as in just like my sis. This is my sis. And it's not like your actual sister or biological sister. No, she wasn't making a reference about that, you stupid fucking Neil. Anyway, Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. White people leave the album alone. I know they were telling white people leave Lemonade alone, but I need white straight men leave Renaissance alone. White people leave it alone. These album reviews I've been reading, and in some places I like to write for, they're just not getting it. And I know they're not. I'm not reading any album reviews on Renaissance if they're not written by black people, and also specifically black queer people. I don't want to read any of these dry ass takes from white men in music that's been around 4,000 years. Just shut up and give the album 4 stars and go sit the fuck down. Because any of the other artists that you've been giving 5 stars to or 4 stars like Adele, if you could give that 5 stars, but you're giving this 4, let me be nice. I'm going to be quiet. I'm just going to say some of you all just you don't have the range to talk about this album. And it was not meant to, because it was not for you. And I tell people this, you can appreciate something that's not for you. Lizzo's album is not for me. It's not. It's not a bad album, but it was not for me. Now there's a bunch of white gays that are like probably like, you don't like Lizzo's new album? It gave me life. Yes, it gave you life. But Renaissance gave me life. Because I'm not a basic bitch. I'm having a moment here. I'm just saying that certain albums are not for everybody. And sometimes you can listen to music, appreciate it, and say, you know what? If I don't understand the context, I need to, do. Let's just put it this way. This is the, what is a complex book that people just don't fucking know how to interpret or get? A good book. Ulysses. This is the Ulysses of black music. As far as modern day pop R&B, this is the Ulysses. Ulysses is now the original Ulysses, okay, that book is a complicated book, and the American literary canon, okay, it is levels depth. It is not an easy read book. It's important. You need to read it, understand it, but you might not get it. It is literally the Ulysses of the music, of black music. It does not require an instant gut reaction. It's going to take years to process it. You're going to have to dissect it. Now, Lemonade, okay, was not a Ulysses. I would say that out of the canon, right, if we're talking about books, I would say that Lemonade was a beloved. It was a beloved, or the bluest eye in the canon of black modern day music. Not all music, because listen, there was heavier music back then. But Beloved is the kind of book where it is an easier read to dive into, but the themes are depth. You're gonna have to take some time to process some of the themes, but there is an easier digestion. Renaissance is artistically creative in a way that is meant to be nuanced and layered in a way that you cannot just process it in and process it out. Okay, she's not making little 2-minute song bops that are easy to process, easy to digest. It's layers to this shit. And I appreciate an album that challenges my ears, challenges my senses, awaken me to new sonic experiences, take me to a universe far, far fucking away. That is what this album does. This album is immaculate. It is thoughtful. You can tell she took time. Okay? Now the girls always rush, but I like rush Beyoncé and I like take time Beyoncé, because B-Day was done in 2 weeks, right when she got off the set of Dreamgirls. If B-Day is a rushed album, that is what many of your faves, they would take 3 years to make a B-Day. It took her 2 weeks to do that. So the fact that she gave us this is B-Day in outer space. It's a different experience. It's rich. It's meaningful. And it's a cohesive body of work. And it's not into a cliche. It's no cliche behind this album. It's beautiful. It is really an album of the year contender. Like, as somebody who judges craft and I have to judge and review things and nominate things, like, there's something, what makes a great album of the year, right, is an album that has seamless cohesion, has a strong theme, takes risks, have depth, and has timeless elements to it that will be talked about for generations to come. Lemonade did that. Lemonade should have won album of the year. Let's be very clear. It should have. Folklore has elements of its own that do that in its own terrain. Because I'm not comparing Folklore to this, because there's no comparison. Let's be very clear. There's no comparison. But what this album does, it's a different experience, and it's going to take time to process it. it's going to take time to really hone it. People keep asking me, what song did you like off of it? It changes every day, y'all. Every day there's another song that speaks to me. And that's how I feel about Folklore. When I listen to Folklore, I knew Folklore was going to win Album of the Year when I first listened to it, because it's the good albums have the ability to change based on moods. There are songs off of, like, it's an album where the B-sides are so good that they're better than the singles. Like, when I listen to Folklore, I love Invisible String. Like, I love Invisible String. When I first heard Invisible String, I thought it was very simple. Like, okay. But I love Invisible String now. There's just certain songs that will fit different times in your life and moods and take you to a different place. This album, I'm just listening to it. With no stops, no skippables. I'm not skipping anything. You can't skip anything off this album. You just have to just keep playing it and just taking it. Every time I listen, I pick up something different. Don't you like an album like that? No one makes albums like that hardly anymore. You know, no one's making albums like that anymore. It's like very boom, boom, bam, 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 bam. You know, but this is a grown-up album. And to be clear, to be fair to the contemporary girls, you can't make an album like this unless you've been in the game 25 years. Beyonce's been in the game for a quarter of a century. You don't get to a point to make an album like this without putting some game. This is what it looks like for an artist who has played with different sounds for decades. They have worked with different producers, different songwriters, different creatives. This is a person who isn't making music, but is music. They're the embodiment and personification of music. And they are in a place where they can experiment without it being automatically panned. They're in a place where they can put something out and don't give a fuck about anything else. This is what fearless music looks like. This is what free music looks like. This is the kind of music that's like, if she wins a Grammy, she don't give a fuck. If she wins Album of the Year, she doesn't give a fuck. Because at this point, it's just like, we all know it's the best damn thing. That's where she's at. She can make it a music experience for an album. Not that many artists can do that in this generation. Taylor Swift can do it. Unfortunately, Drake can still do it for now. Kendrick can do it. Adele can do it, right? And of course, Beyonce, right? There's not that many artists like them in this genre that can do that. It's, like I said, it's Taylor Swift, it's Kendrick, it's Drake, it's Kanye. I can't leave out Kanye. It's Adele, and it's Beyonce. It's the Fantastic Six. Those are the only 6 artists that I believe that when they drop an album, they can make an experience. Love Rihanna, but let's be clear. We love a Rihanna single more than we do an album. But I will say Anti was definitely a game-changing moment. But these are people, those 6 artists I just named, are people that can create experience around an album. You know, those people can. And I only named like 2 white artists, because only Adele and Taylor Swift are the only artists that I feel like in the conversation that can. The rest are black. The rest are black, okay? Beyonce, again, Kanye, Drake, Kendrick. You know, that's the criteria. You know, those are the artists, you know. It's them. I mean, I can't think of anybody else, I think, you know, that could do that. Those are the 4 that can do it. The way that, you know, so there was some, you know, there are a lot of people who give Kanye a lot of praise for experimenting with his music, and he's gotten to that point clearly. He experiments with music all the time and do a bunch of stuff, and people just give him that. But I don't think people give Beyonce sometimes enough credit for that in recent years. But this album, it's just mesmerizing. It's beautiful. It's a great album. Just listen to it. I love Cuff It. I love the ending. I love that Cuff It energy. Break My Soul, and Church Girl. That just how they go back to back together. Those transitions are flawless. Let me just say this for starters. Break My Soul sounds way better, and everyone's been talking about it, but I talked about it. The moment I heard it, I said, what the fuck is this? Where is this? Because the extra vocals and chorus and sounds, the mixing off of that on the album, let me tell you, that will get it to number 1. The album version alone, outside the single version, will alone get that song to number one. It's coming. She's gonna get number one off of Break My Soul. It's happening. It's happening. I'm speaking it to existence. It's happening. Lizzo got number one for About Damn Time. She might get it for a second week, maybe. We don't know yet. Who else got a? Who? I mean, her album Special reached number two on Billboard and not hit number one. Thought it was, but that Bad Bunny, baby, he's a bad mama jamma. Now Beyonce is going to definitely go number one. It would be dope to see Beyonce have the number one song in the country and the number one album. I don't think she's ever done that. Maybe she has, but it would be cool for both of them to debut at number one at the same time. But there's a possibility, rumor has it, that it's going to break into the top three this week, but it could even get to number one sooner. But I really think it's going to be the following week. So next week, for sure she'll be number one. But she could break it sooner. Maybe she'll break it sooner, depending on by the time you listen to this podcast. Who knows? I could be wrong. But it seems like Harry Styles, As It Was, and Lizzo's About Damn Time is still in contention. So those will be the top three songs it's looking like in some type of ranking or filing. But it's coming. And Beyonce has successfully have stayed in the top 10 for the past several weeks. So it is. But I do think Break My Soul is the song of the summer. This album, Summer Renaissance, this whole energy is just great. So back to comparing it to other albums. I grew up obsessing over Confessions on the Dance Floor. It was definitely the white gays, what they wanted from Madonna for a while. Now, Ray of Light, I mean, do I want to make that comparison? I'm going to just make it with Jamarcus. But I have some ideas, Jamarcus. We'll talk offline. But I have some ideas about what I think about Madonna's catalog and Beyonce's, and like what albums are comparable to the trajectory of their careers. But I definitely think Confessions is definitely that. Like, there's a parallel there. Because Madonna was making music, and there was something the white gays wanted. Her gay fans, international, because she's the queen, wanted an album that was just dance. And can I just shout the fact that Beyonce didn't have any features on this album? Like, there was no Jay-Z, there was no Drake, like there were not like any actual like rappers rapping. Like, she kept it very simple. Like, Grace Jones and Tim's, and it was very much not too many featured mainstream artists taking up space on her songs. I love that. And Grace Jones, yes. Like, it was Tim's too. Like, oh my God, Tim's. How's that feel to be on Tim's? I keep telling y'all, don't play with Tim's. Tim's is a rising star. Can we get her like a nomination for Best New Artist next year at the Grammys? Can we make that happen, Recording Academy? Let me call some people, because Tim's have been having a great year. I'm really liking how Tim's is just moving up that chart. She's a rising star from Nigeria. Okay, Naija. Like, okay. Even though we all know Ghana has the best, everything, the best jollof and the best food. I mean, Nigeria, Tim's is definitely top tier talent. Let's just say that. So I love the fact that she didn't have that many wild features. She didn't, do too much. Energy had a feature, but that was it. Like, there wasn't any, a lot of it is just a lot of just great samples and things. I appreciate that. But yes, I definitely think Confession on Dance Floor, Madonna, same type of energy. Very great sonically cohesive album. It won some honors, got some great nominations. Should have gotten way more credit than what it did. It was just a phenomenal album. Madonna just, still to this day, know them songs by heart. I mean, she was sampling ABBA. Like Beyonce went to the soulful Donna Summer black-esque of disco era. Madonna went to the white ABBA era, the David Bowie-esque variations. Like two different types of albums, but very much cohesive and similar. This is that. This is like, I could imagine what it felt like to be a white gay man that was an adult when Confessions on the Dance Floor came out. I can imagine that how they felt is how I'm feeling right now in my 30s listening to Beyonce's Renaissance. I guess that's like the same feeling. I've been wanting an album that speaks to me in a way that is not to only my queer side, but just this immersive, this embrace. Who is, well, let me, I'll keep that off the podcast, but just a lot of inspiration, Beyonce. I just want to know who is like what did Jay-Z think about this album? What did Jay-Z think about this album? Do we know? Do we know what Jay-Z thought about this album? I mean, he probably wasn't going to say it's good, but real rap. I just wonder. What Jay-Z think about this? Um, Now to the ugly. So several things have happened since the album. The album, quote unquote, leaked, which Beyonce acknowledged leaked. And there's been, and let me just say that, I mean, leaks happen. I mean, there was the acknowledgement that the album was selling in France days earlier. So I'm thinking maybe somebody got access to the record. Of course, scanned it, put it on a DVD because it came out before it should have. And, in the age of globalization, time zones do allow different things to come out when they come out. So that could have helped push it out on the internet in some kind of way. So that was that. I did not listen to the leak. I don't do leaks. I don't listen to leaks. I like to, listen. I enjoyed exactly at, July 29th at midnight immediately. I refreshed my YouTube Music. The album was there. I clicked play. We was on. Okay, I'm That Girl came right on. We was in there. Okay, we was just right in there. And it was great. I wanted to have that experience. It was wonderful that the leak didn't ruin that aspect of it. But one thing that did stand out, and I do want to discuss it, was about Khalees. Now, Khalees, is the queen, okay? She had the still iconic, forever iconic track that you all have seen in commercials, movies, everywhere else, Milkshake, okay? My Milkshake listen, that is a timeless bop. There are songs by artists that they don't have to do another song in their life, and they will forever, okay? Milkshake, no matter when you play that song, it is still the fucking bop. You could play Milkshake right the fuck now, and everybody is going to be just as excited about it as they were when that shit came out nearly 20 years ago. Milkshake is just a timeless bop. My Neck, My Back by Kaya. People don't like Kaya right now. Kaya this, Kaya that. But Kaya's My Neck, My Back is a timeless bop. Okay? Nelly has given us, Nelly has his issues too. But Nelly has given us some timeless bops too. We're still Hot in Here is just a timeless bop. A lot of people cannot make timeless bops. It is hard to. And Khalees, given everything she dealt with her career, she gave us a timeless bop. It has the ability to be used for everything. It's perfect for TikTok. It's perfect for commercials. It's perfect for you walking down the street in a hot day. It's perfect for sex. It's perfect for a teenage party. It's popping for, a nostalgia. It's perfect for everything. That's a versatile hit. My Neck, My Back, probably the same thing. But, it's just some, you don't get songs like that all the time, okay? So, anyway, Khalees, there was an intropode in the song Energy that samples from a Khalees song that isn't Milkshake, but it was a song she did many years ago. And, long story short, it's a lot that was said, but pretty much the controversy is that Khalees says she was never given a heads up by Beyonce that she would be using one of her tracks. Now, what has come out of this conversation, well, actually, it is Milkshake, but to be clear, she called it theft. The song that was in question is apparently Milkshake, which was interpolated in the clubby version of the song Energy, which Beam was featured on it. So Beam was the other feature. So it was Grace Jones, Tim's, and Beam, who is a Jamaican-American rapper. So she got Jamaica. His name is Beam, not Beams, but Beam. And he is popping. So apparently, to be clear, it's interpolating differs from sampling. So it's not sampling. It's basically tweaking a portion of an existing song for a fresh sound, while sampling just takes directly from the track. So like Beyonce did interpolating, and then she also did sampling throughout the album. But apparently this song, I guess it was Milkshake, was the hit song that she did, was interpolated on Energy, which is on the album, right? And so there's a lot of conversations. But on Instagram, okay, Khalees, commented to a fan. She said, quote, "My mind is blown too because of the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all three parties involved is astounding," she wrote. She basically said, I heard about this. She says, "I heard about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity, and they have everyone fooled." So she was referring to Beyonce, Chad Hugo, and Pharrell. And she said she was triggered by all of this. And a lot of people just started to drag Khalees because they're Beyonce stans, and stan culture is just, obsessive fans that don't understand Khalees's iconicness. They don't understand what's going on with her. People don't understand. But let's be very clear. You have to actually know that she initially did talk about Beyonce because it was Beyonce's album, right? But it's also the real issues with Pharrell and Chad Hugo, which she talks about. Because she's, consistently have accused Pharrell of lying and tricking her into a bad music deal, which basically left Hugo and Pharrell Williams, yes, Mr. Happy Man, yes. Basically, she says that she was lied and tricked to a bad deal with him, which allowed him with all of the rights to her music and left her empty-handed. Okay? And, what's even crazier and what's even wilder is that even though she is the original performer of the song Milkshake, because she's not credited as a songwriter and she doesn't hold the copyrights, the approval was not legally needed to basically give the clearance. So let me be very clear, like the technical, basically the good, the bad, the ugly, and all that. So to be very clear, Khalees has always said that her earlier music, songs like Milkshake, all those songs, she wrote those songs. She co-wrote those songs. She was a part of the production. She wasn't just a performer. The way that her deal was, she got tricked into signing a horrible music deal because a lot of young black women at the time were tricked into signing bad deals. We hear stories that happen to TLC. We hear stories that happen to so many black women in music and black men. But there's been so many artists that had given bad deals where they didn't get the money supposed to. Toni Braxton has talked about that in the past. Listen, there's been some women who've been taken advantage of. So we got to understand it. Everyone did not have their father, like Beyonce's father, who was making sure that her money was right, even if some of the other girls in Destiny's Child did not get their money anywhere. But anyway, so there's history here around this. And so on a technical contractual level, right, Beyonce did not have to go to Khalees. She just had to go to Chad Hugo, and to Pharrell Williams, who basically, took ownership of the song or whatever. So so Beyonce is not going to ever be sued. It's not giving lawsuit. None of that is the issue here, right? Technically, Beyonce did everything legally, right? So let's be clear. However, what people have to understand is that Pharrell knows better, and Khalees has said that this is a direct hit at her and that he's been doing this all the time and that she's annoyed because she knows he's done it on purpose. Khalees and Pharrell and Hugo, they go back. They knew each other as teenagers and had friends and mutual friends. The Neptunes and all of them were connected. This is deep. And when she went into let's be also clear. Khalees has been consistent about what happened to her with Pharrell Williams, who I think is a total dirtbag right now. I do not like him. I think he's a horrible guy, right? The plan was the three of them were going to split everything 33, 33, 33. That did not happen. And then when shit fucked her up, then they hit her with the quote unquote allegedly, well, you signed it. And she signed it based on what she was told. And she said she was too young and too stupid to double check it. So she was swindled, y'all. This black woman in music, one of our favorite black, musical icons of our childhood, she got fucked over by the music industry. And she got fucked over by a black man, by Pharrell. And the sad part is that she claimed that she only discovered the specifics of the deal many years later. And the only money she made from her first two albums came from touring. And it even got worse because her third album, Tasty, right? She said they were offended by her decision to collaborate with other people. She did not want to collaborate with them at that point, which she said was a lot of pettiness. And to be clear, Pharrell Williams have never talked about Khalees' accusations. Guilty conscious. But Chad Hugo did it. He talked about it in an interview with Vulture earlier this year, basically saying, quote unquote, I heard about her sentiment towards that. I mean, I don't handle that. I usually hire business folks to help out with that kind of stuff. We made some cool records back then with Khalees. I'd be happy to connect with her again somewhere down the line. But he doesn't discuss how they fucked Khalees over. So I'm holding that for her. Because we also have to take into account that Khalees's experience in the music industry has been fraught with a lot of hurt over the years. Let's talk about the fact that she was married to Nas, and she alleged that she was in an abusive relationship with Nas, that Nas was abusive to her. She also, talked about other issues she's had throughout her life. Her husband abruptly died not too long ago. She lost her husband. She got married. She got a farm, a business. She's doing cooking and chef stuff. She's got a great cookbook. And she got married in a loving marriage. And she just became a widow. Like, not too long ago. She lost her husband. And that's sad. That's sad. So, back to Beyonce and back to this. As a person, as an adult, I always tell people that we can't act like the very white, problematic, sexist industry culture vultures that we always warn and mentor people not to be a part of. People on social media are being cruel, heartless, stupid, ignorant, everything above. Saying things like, that's the business. She should have read the... why do we do that to each other? Why do we know... How do we try to uphold marginalized people, especially Black women, that were young and vulnerable? How come we don't have grace and compassion to recognize that, we're playing the you got rather than we should be pissed that this happened to her? And the fact is that while just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Just because something is legal doesn't make it right. And so when I hear people do the whole legal versus right logic, these must be the same motherfuckers who would have just said, yeah, we 3/5 a person because that's what the law say. So the law was right. I don't live under those rules. I don't live in a society that will tell me that just because people can be discriminated for being gay in certain parts of this country, that's the law. We should accept it as it is. I don't agree with that. I agree that we should also have restorative justice. And Beyonce's elements of her music has been rooted in restorative justice, has been rooted on dismantling systems of oppression. And so in this situation, I'm not saying, and let me be clear, I made a viral tweet and people was jumping on this. I'm not saying that Beyonce had to mediate the conversation between Pharrell and Khalees. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that Beyonce individually as an artist, as a Black woman in music, who has dealt with this type of stuff or have seen people do this stuff, that it would have not been a problem. Because if you're listening carefully to Khalees is not asking for money. Khalees is not asking for, legal or lawsuits. That's not what Khalees is asking for. Khalees was asking for a level of respect that woman to woman, Beyonce could have reached out to her and just simply said, hey, FYI, I want you to know that I love your song Milkshake. And I know what's happened to you in the past or whatnot. And I want you to know that I'm interested in sampling it. And even though contractually, I know the rules, but just on a sister-to-sister level, because Khalees and Beyonce do know each other and they do have mutual friends. Is there a way that we could, talk about this, or there's a way that, hey, can I get your blessing? And the Khalees would have said, you know what? This is very trauma for me. This is very triggering for me. That music, dealing with those guys, knowing that Pharrell's going to get a cut off of that, probably not. And Beyonce could have said, you know what? Because I've already vetted my album to scrub it of Me Too people, even though Drake has those allegations of grooming two young white women, Billie Eilish and, Millie Bobby Brown. Anyway, Millie Bobby Brown, and, look that up. Anyway, she scrubbed the album of Me Too, allegedly. And basically, that's why she had any features on the album. But then what about The Dream and his abuse? Who knows? Anyway, going along, she could have said, given the fact that it's been reported that Beyonce was scrubbing Me Too artists and people off of the album, she was doing this firm vetting, and she called the album a safe space. Could she have done a better job in addressing this Khalees situation? Absolutely yes. 100%. She should have definitely scrubbed the album of she should have reached out to Khalees, and maybe she could have just had Khalees like on the album, like because Khalees has great albums, Kaleidoscope, all these are the great albums she has. She has good music. Maybe she just could have just gave Khalees that opportunity, like resurrected aspects of Khalees' sound into the album, but it did a collaboration. Like she could have just did that. Because let's not act like Beyonce. See, this is the thing about stans. Stans always try to put Beyonce on a higher pedestal and give Beyonce all this credit for being meticulous and all that. But at the same time, when Beyonce makes these types of, mishaps, then they try to act like everything is so detached, or they talk about other people did. Well, when you're at an artist at this level, you got to be mindful about the implications. That's what makes you a great artist, is the attention to detail, the consideration of all these things. It makes you better than being just some random artist out there just putting out music that no one's listening to, like many of your faves. But again, lots to think about, lots to consider. But I think hopefully, as a person who's a fan of both Khalees and Beyonce in this case, I hope that they're going to have that conversation and that they'll work that out, because it's definitely clear that Khalees is responding to hurt, and to minimize her harm and her pain or reduce it, or to try to erase the legitimacy of her complaint and the validity of how she felt, isn't helpful. Like, two things can be true at the same time. Beyonce could be a great artist, which she is, make a great album, do all the great things, and be a really great artist. But the other thing that could be true, that Khalees' feelings were hurt. Beyonce could have did better in how she, handled that situation with her. And that's both facts. And none of those things have to be disputed over the other. I think sometimes people feel like there's always have to be one overarching thing that then counters everything a person's done. No, it's just, you could be able to hold both truths and recognize them and root for both of them and root for healing. Period. It's called growth. It's called adulthood. It's called maturity. I don't know what the fuck these stands are doing on Twitter, but like you're not even embodying the behavior of your faith. Which brings me on to other pieces of trash that is not the two of them. Neo. Motherfucking Neo. So, I told you all last week I bumped into Neo. I saw Neo at Target, all that jazz, and about Neo coming to Philadelphia performing. And I was talking about how I had heard things about him in the news. I was trying to figure out what was going on with Neo, and he was like off. Well, his wife, I guess, or the woman he renewed his vows with, well, she then came out online and talked about how this man has been, having unprotected sex with other people, cheating on her with multiple women over the years, lying to her, deceiving her, and she's not putting herself through that pain after the fact that they just recently renewed their vows in the spring. Apparently, Neo's out here cheating. She's telling the people, don't send me any more videos or tips about how he's cheating on me. Please don't. She doesn't want to deal with it, and she doesn't want those receipts. Well, she called Neo a narcissist, and guess what's so hilarious? And also kind of sad. Neo liked her Instagram post. Talk about a dude that's straight up trash. First of all, Neo, baby, what? But part of me thought at first, poor lady, but then I found out, wait a minute, Neo ain't shit. Neo, before her, was with another woman who he was cheating on, apparently, with this woman, did not want kids. This woman, I guess, got her tubes tied not to have kids because he want kids. He turns around, leaves her for this other woman, and now this woman and him got 3 kids together. Talk about someone who's not shit. So you knew what she was getting with when you got with it. You thought you was special. You thought you was different. But like my grandma used to say, you say in the hood, how you get them is how you lose them. Okay? You was cheating with him while he was cheating on his first woman, and then you turn around and he done did this thing to you, baby. That's how they do. That's how dogs do. And karma's a bitch. So I tell people, if you get men and you get a woman or you get somebody under circumstances that's messy, it never ends well. Look at what happened to Angelina Jolie. Now, for many years, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt looked like they was going to break that curse. Well, then Brad showed his ass and look, Angelina Jolie out here. It just never works that way. I don't know that many people. I mean, there's got to be some, I suppose. But no, not here for it. Moving along. So, Will Smith. Will Smith's got an apology going on. He's on his apology tour. A lot of people was trying to ask me what I thought about it. Look, Will Smith. Will Smith, I mean, I, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to. He apologized and clarified that basically Jada did not put him to do it, which I knew. Blaming her wasn't the point. He apologized to Chris. He says Chris isn't ready to talk to him. He, gave his apology. 5 minutes, respond to questions, and he looking like he's doing the work or trying to do the work. I mean, there's two feelings about it, so I'll give the empathetic side of it. Good job, Will. Will want to go out. Will want to speak up. Will wants to take some time. Will want to let us know how he's feeling. Okay, Will, cool. It's been some time. Jada went back to the red table, talking, did her thing. She wasn't going to stop anything. But Will came out, put it out there. He wanted to apologize. Wanted to apologize to Chris Rock's brother. He seems like he wants to move forward. Everyone's like, well, why is that? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But I want to just say, hey, you didn't have to do it, Will. You had already apologized. The Academy already put you on a suspension. You said, fuck them. Like, you left, you resigned, you good, right? I mean, didn't even give him time to, right? He didn't even give the time for suspension. He just basically resigned. And but he's still an Academy Award winning actor. He's gonna do the work. He's gonna take the time. He's gonna reflect. He apologized to the nominees. Questlove acknowledges him. Personally, here's where I go into the sassy part about this. Look, you know what? Listen, we over the apology. I don't give a fuck about the apology. I don't think anybody care about the apology. Chris Rock is trying to move on, I suppose. He ain't talking about much of his comedy set. Like, honestly, they've overdrawn it. Consequences are given. See, black people always are made as examples. Like, we never have to worry about if a consequence is going to come to us for doing something, for the most part. I mean, only the super, 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 super powerful people don't get consequences, which is really rare. But Will Smith did what he did, got a consequence. I mean, like, life moves on. Like, guys, like, y'all, I mean, the way that some of these people overreacted, I tell you, I don't look at them the same anymore. Like, I don't look at Wanda Sykes the same. Fuck Amy Schumer. A lot of these other, like, white people who have definitely, dramatized what happened that night and all the little comments they made. Like, snake ass people have no respect for them. I just think we're over it. I think, though, Will Smith had to do that because he's about to get like $33 million to do this film called Emancipation, which is directed by Antoine Fuqua, which will be coming out later this year, early next year. I think it would have definitely been Oscar consideration, but given that he's suspended, it's probably not going to be considered anymore. But it's apparently going to be a really good movie, a big movie. It's going to be on Apple, and I guess they're going to roll the movie out. I think they've assessed whether or not Will Smith can make that comeback. But we love a good comeback. We're giving Chris Cuomo all these white people comebacks. The Trump lawyers are getting comebacks. Will deserves a comeback. Okay, Will Smith deserves a comeback. He didn't kill the guy, unlike Drew Apto, who made that little remark. He could have killed him. No, he did not. It was a slap. Y'all done sat up here and raped people and drugged people and exploited people, and you over here talking about a slap. The man, look, it is what it is, right? Because unlike Woody Allen and some of these other folks who have never seen real consequence for what they've done, Will got it immediately. And guess what? Will took himself out of the equation. He had the humility to say, listen, I'm not even about to let y'all wait to give me a decision. I'm just going to resign. Bye. Because he got his Oscar. If he was still a nominee, if he didn't win that Oscar that night and they would have gave it to, Andrew Garfield or some shit, I would have been mad to get it to Denzel. But if they would have did that, I would have been in my feelings. I would have been in my feelings. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. But I'm excited to hear about this movie nonetheless. So, in wrapping up, another long episode, but y'all loved it nonetheless. Lots of good shows are going on right now. P-Valley. Oh my goodness, we're like 2 more episodes left to the finale. P-Valley is just, if you're not watching P-Valley, I just don't know what to tell you. Watch P-Valley. I'm going to promote it every podcast episode until the finale. Watch P-Valley. This season has been everything. I mean, it's almost like they kept going out missing a beat. Every episode. Oh my goodness. So many great things. So many great themes. Baddies South, I love it. It's just ratchet TV. So good. So grand. Just getting ready to watch that again. New episodes. Been catching up. Love it a lot. But what I'm really excited about, because you all know, since season 1, Love and Hip Hop is coming back. Yes. Next Monday, a week from now, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop Miami are coming back. They're going to just take over my Monday nights all over again, back to back. Super excited. Don't know who's going to be in the cast. I got to look at the extended trailers. I just been in the moment. But they're back. They're coming. It's going to be spicy. I'm looking forward to seeing what these 2 seasons are about to bring because y'all know what's going down. So by the time we do the next podcast episode, the new show would have not aired yet. But it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I'm super excited. So that, as always, I guess what I'm about to do now is get ready for Vegas and pack up. And then, the next podcast episode be coming and can't wait to tell you how Vegas goes and all the surprises along the way. But as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.